Water. Love it. Oh, you guys are here again. Well, I guess I'll save my whopper of a question for another time. Today we're talking about, treat for me. We're talking about 5-6. 5-6 is our abilities to graph linear inequalities. So take some time, write down our steps here. The steps are the exact same steps that you would use for graphing any linear equation, except for now it's an inequality. So make sure you write down the steps. I'll explain them on the next page. Whopper. Love it. You guys are the best. Oh, next page. Come on. Here we go. All right. Too far. Example number 1. Our job, like in our steps that you previously wrote down, is to get our y by itself. The only way we can graph these is if we have our y by itself. So again, it's kind of like having it in slope-intercept form, except for we're not going to have an equal sign, we're going to have an inequality. So we are going to move the x to the other side by adding 4x plus 4x. So we're left with a 2y is greater than a 4x plus 6. Our next step is to get the y's by themselves, which means we need to divide by 2 because it was 2 times a y. So that makes this now a y is greater than a 2x plus 3. So this is our inequality. Y is greater than a 2x plus 3. And our job is to take and graph it. Are you ready? So our steps, just like when we graphed before, is we're first going to graph the y-intercept. So we go up, 1, 2, 3, put our point. Then we use our slope of 2 to graph the slope. So we go up 2 to the right 1 because it's rise over run. You guys thought we were going to get rid of it, right? It doesn't happen that way. And I'm picky. I want your guys' lines to go all the way through. Now here's the step that we need to remember. So if I have a greater than or a less than, I'm going to have dashed lines. If I have an or equal to, I'm going to have solid lines. This is the big part that we need to remember. So because we have just a greater than sign, we're just going to have dashed lines. So you use your ruler and make your dashed lines. Okay? Now again, they are lines, so they need an arrow on both ends. And since y is greater than it, every spot that y is greater than is up here. So we're going to shade above our line. So all of the numbers that work for this specific inequality are in the shaded area. So we could pick any point, such as right here, a -2, 3, and we could plug it in. A -2, 3, if we plug it in, for x, 2 times -2 is 4, a -4. A -4 plus 3 is -1. -1 is less than a 3. So we know that that is a true statement. So all of those are solutions on this part of the graph. Okay? Let's try again. Again, we're trying to get the y by itself. So we're going to, again, just move our x to the other side. We're left with 4y is greater than or equal to a -x plus 2. We are going to then get the y by itself by dividing everything by that 4. And now y is greater than or equal to a -1/4 x plus 1/2. Now folks, these numbers aren't nearly as nice as our previous problem, but that doesn't change anything. We still can graph this fairly easily. So we have y greater than or equal to a -1/4 x plus 1/2. So I go up a half, put my, let's change colors again, and have a y-intercept. And then from there I go down 1, right 4. So down 1 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 1 to the right, 2, 3, 4. So we're in the half line. That's kind of awkward, but we can deal with it. Up 1 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 1 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, because we have an or equal to, this means we're going to have a solid line. So we're going to do our best to make a solid line. This is hard for me to do on the computer, so don't laugh at me. Ha ha, hee hee, hoo hoo. And we have arrows on the end going all the way through the graph so that we have made sure to not make anything missing. And y is greater than it. So we're looking for the values where y is greater, which is up here. If it said y is less than, the less than this number for our y is below it. So again, we're going to shade above, and boom, there we have it. We have shaded, and we are now solving our beautiful linear inequality. Got one more for you. I'm going to have you guys try this one on your own. We will do it in class when you return. So try this one on your own. Bell rang. And so this is one we highlight. You're making an effort to do on your own. Yes, you're going to have to sketch your own coordinate plane unless you grab graph paper from me. Alrighty. And here's a word problem. Everyone's favorite thing about math. Here's this dude named Rajan. He writes and edits short articles for a local newspaper. It takes him about an hour to write an article and about half an hour to edit an article. If Rajan works up to 8 hours a day, how many articles can he write and edit in one day? So if he works and he writes for 8 hours, so we'll have WB for him writing, and then we will have E being for him editing. So for 8 hours, if he writes and it takes him 1 hour to do each one, what is the most amount of articles that he can write in those 8 hours? Well, that would be an 8. So that's the most. So W is going to have to be less than or equal to 8. His ability to edit in 8 hours, and its editing is half an hour, so he's going to have less than or equal to 16. So let's pretend that this y-axis is his abilities to edit. This x-axis over here is his abilities to write. This is Rajan's work. So that's our title. Over here we have our 0, 0, and we'll have to get our label. So this will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and that one of course is 20 then. Over here we'll have a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So our y-axis is the number of edits, and our x-axis is the number of writing of paper that he can do, how many papers he can write. Alright, so the most number of edits he can make is way up here at 16. The most number of... Hi! Again. So I was just interrupted. I apologize. I don't remember even what we were saying, but here we are. We're trying to work on our abilities to graph the writing, how many papers he can write. And since he can only write 8 papers in those 8 hours or 8 articles, we'll have a point here. Now for me, we're going to connect these dots and figure out what our slope is, hopefully, from those points. So if we went down 16 to the right 8, down 16 to the right 8, that would be a slope of 2, right? So we have a negative 2w plus 16. So edits is less than or equal to negative 2w plus 16. That would be our inequality. Oh, interrupted one more time, so now we're back at this. Now because we were having E is less than or equal to a negative 2w plus 16, we shade everything below. And this makes sense because if we get on the opposite side, this would be more than 8 hours of work. And Rajan doesn't want to put in any overtime. So this is the number of articles that he can write and the number of articles that he can edit. So any number in between here. So you could pick like he does 6 articles that he edits and 2 articles that he writes. So that would be a solution for you. Now our assignment is this. Make sure you get it taken care of. We'll have a test this next week, and good luck to you folks.